Welcome to the Ephesoft Intelligent Automation presentation and demonstration. Firstly, let me introduce myself. I'm Stephen Lee, the Vice President for the Asia Pacific region. And also joining me on the call is Alistair Alaz, our Senior Pre-Sales Engineer. So what I'm going to actually cover today is Ephesoft's clear value proposition and where we differentiate ourselves in the market. So the whole core concept of Ephesoft itself is really built around innovation and modernization. And when we entered the market, we looked at a legacy space with a lot of old technology and really looked at ways that we can bring that forward. And on the left there, you can see these are the 4 core areas where we really focused to bring the document capture space to the next level. That incorporated AI, patented machine learning, inputting an intuitive user interface and user experience into the platform, making it modular and very openly architected, so making it easy to integrate into other applications, as well as put in a lot of different customization into the solution, and then having web service APIs available and making that API program open to everyone. That said, with the growth of the company, what we now focus very much around is our customer centricity and customer value. And what we found with most of our customers, the feedback we get, what they love around the Ephesoft solution, really focus around 3 core things which I've listed out here. The first one being the fact that the platform is modern and fully extendable. The solution is very easy to deploy and scale across different departments and other use cases. And then the third point is our unique approach to how we license the product. Ephesoft doesn't take on the traditional way of licensing, which is usually done on page count or users. What we want to do is make it very easy for customers to make this work for them. So we take on a very core-based licensing model, allowing customers to measure their processing speeds, scale up, and keep within their SLAs. So in summary, that is the 3 key points where Ephesoft differentiates itself in the market. To further expand, the strength of the platform as well, again, is really around the scalability. And what you can see here on this slide are 40 of the most common use cases we've seen in the Asia Pacific region alone. One thing we found with the majority of our customers is they'll start with this one particular problem statement. Financial services, a lot of our clients there will start around areas such as trade finance automation or looking to automate their loan origination process. But then over time, once they've automated that process, they start looking at other areas of business now as well that are still manually heavy. And that could be areas such as expense management claims, or HR and payroll, or employee onboarding, or even areas around transport logistics, or looking at billings and claims, or handling financial statements. So again, most of our customers not only fix one problem statement, they start moving around maybe to 5 or 10 statements as they go along. Such with the ease of the flexibility with the solution and the licensing model that we offer. And then lastly, Ephesoft is a proven platform. Again, we've been around for 10 years globally, in the Asia Pacific market for 3 years, but we've seen very significant growth. And again, the fact that we focus very much on our customer centricity means that we have a lot of successful reference customers. And you can see here's just a few examples of some of the customers based in the Asia Pacific region who've had success using the Ephesoft Transact platform. So with that, what I'm going to do now is pass it over to Alistair, who's going to give you a demonstration of the Ephesoft Transact solution. And we're going to focus particularly around the account openings. Over to you, Alistair.
Hello, I'm Alistair Alaz. I'm Solution Engineer for Ephesoft, and I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of Ephesoft Transact and how we can ingest an account opening form and some supporting documentation and process it and push it through to a back-end system, which in this scenario is going to be SharePoint. However, before we do that, I'd just like you to take you through the workflow process and what we're actually going to be seeing. So, Transact can ingest documents in a number of different ways. We can do it through the traditional scanner, multifunctional devices, drop folders. We can import through fax machines. We can do portals because we have a full range of APIs available to us that allows us to bring bring documents in through using APIs. The two main methods I'm going to show you today is we can actually ingest documents through email and also through our mobile SDK as well. So I'm going to show you the initial form coming in through email and then supporting documentations being captured via a mobile SDK and then uploaded directly into Ephesoft Transact. So once the documents have been ingested, what we're going to see is how the data is going to be transferred into OCR data. We're going to normalize the data. We're going to clean it up. If there's any image rotation needs to be done, we can rotate the documents. Or even things like if we get sort of blank pages, they can be eliminated as well or removed from the process. Once we've gone through that the initial image processing, we're going to identify what the documents are. We could see document A could be the actual application form. Document B could be the passport or the identity card. But because of the way we've actually set the system up and because we've put in supervised machine learning, we can actually teach the system how to recognize these different document types. And that would be done at the initial configuration stage of the system. But it can also be an ongoing learning process as well as the system grows. Once we've identified what these documents are, we're looking at extracting some key information off them. So with the application form, for example, we're going to be looking at the person's name, the gender, the date of birth, the nationality. And also we're going to look at some key information such as has the document been signed? And we can start to put in business logic behind that as well, because we can look at the sign and the signed date. Is it a future date? Is it sort of a greater than a certain amount of days? So business logic can be put in there too. We can start to look at putting back information back from a database, for example. Say, for example, I'm applying for a loan and I've already got an account with the organisation. We can start to pull back some additional information about that person. One of the other things that we're going to show at the extraction level as well is that we can extract confidential information such as passport number or ID number, but we can actually redact that as well. So you'll see how we can start to redact key information as well, i.e. hide it from the user's view. Once your data has been extracted, we can look at validating that data. And we have a validation screen that will come up and it'll extract the information, or it'll present the information to the user, the knowledge worker, of what's actually been extracted. And you can see here, it will be things like my name, my first name, my surname, my date of birth, my nationality, and to see if the document's been signed. And we can put confidence levels behind that as well. So if we're highly confident that the data is correct, we can push it straight through processing. We don't need a knowledge worker to look at it. But maybe there's certain key information that we just want them to eyeball to check, is it correct? If it is correct, then they can just sort of move that onto the back-end system. But we can give options to say that, if the confidence level is low, stop. If there's been a misread perhaps, or there's data missing, again, we can stop at the validation screen and someone can go and have a look at it and correct that information. Transact is a thin client application, so it is all browser-based. So you're going to see me doing this all in browser. So the footprint is minimal on the user's machine as well. So we don't have to go through a full installation of a client software or anything. So it is fully browser-based. Once we've extracted that data and we validated it and everything is good, then we're looking at exporting the data. And this is where we can export it to a CSV file. We can put it into XML or into CMIS or straight into a database. But in this particular scenario, what we're going to see is the data is going to be exported out to SharePoint, and the user can then look at the data in SharePoint. Okay, so let me show you the demo that we're going to go through. Let me go through this. So I'm just going to flick over to a different screen. This is Ephesoft Transact. Let me just close this down so you can actually see it from the beginning. But what we're going to do is we're going to receive the document and we're going to put it into SharePoint. So at the moment you can see here there's no documents actually in SharePoint. I'm just going to bring up Transact. So as I say, Transact is a browser-based application. At the moment we've got no jobs in the queue. This is my, if you like, the batch instance manager where we see all the live jobs that are running. And at the moment, there's nothing in here. We've got no jobs running at all. So first thing is, what I'm going to do is we're going to look at a document which is an account opening document. And I'm sorry, I've got to flick to a different screen on here. This is the account opening document. You can see here it's got my name, it's got my surname, my first name, my NRIC number, that is a made-up number, the expiry date, place of birth, nationality. It's got some checkboxes in here, so we'll actually see how we can process checkboxes as well. Just a quick point on this, you'll see all this here, we've got checkboxes, all machine print, but this could easily be handwritten as well. So a form like this will be perfect for handwriting because we can pull the data out as well. So just because it's machine print doesn't mean we can't do handprint, because we certainly can on a form like this. And finally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to make sure that the document is signed as well. So you can see that I've signed the document, I've dated it as well. So the key information I'm going to extract is, has it been signed, the sign date, and my key information about myself as well, about the person that's applying for the account, and the type of account that we've actually applied for. So there's the application. I'm the user, I'm the person who wants to apply for this account. I've filled in my form. I'm going to open up my email account, and I'm going to say to Ephesoft, I'm going to send this into a particular email address, and I'm going to say new account application, and I'm going to take that form here, I'm going to drag it over onto the document, and once that's there, I'm going to load this up, I'm going to email in, I'm going to apply for a new account. So all I'm going to do is send that email off. That email is now gone. And what will happen is the Ephesoft system is sitting there monitoring an email address for new data that's coming in. As soon as it's received it, it will start processing it, and you'll see it going through the actual workflow system. So at the moment, it's not come in. Let me just refresh this screen. And as soon as the job is detected, it'll be picked up and it'll go through that workflow process that I described earlier, which is importing the data in, doing the OCR, doing the classification, doing the data extraction. So just wait for that to come in. So you can now see that the job has been received. It's talking about account management. It's given me some details about it. It's the status is new. In a second, that will change to running. And if you look down in the bottom, you can see this. This is a workflow process that I described in the PowerPoint presentation. See the page processing, the document assembly, etc., etc. And it's actually going to stop at automated validation document module, because I've actually stopped it. I've put what's called a force review on there, so we can actually see what the data is going to look like. So let me just hit refresh again. So you can now see it's going through the extraction mode, and now it's ready for validation. So for me, submitting a document in through email, that has been received, and within, say, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute, it's now come into the system, it's extracted the metadata, and now it's ready for a knowledge worker to look at it. Whereas before, what would have happened is it had gone in the post, it would have taken a couple of days, it had been received, someone would have had to key from image and pushed into the system. So straight away we're seeing a massive benefit in the time from sending the document to actually having it being processed. Let me just open this up. And you can see it's actually identified the document as an open account form. You can see on the left hand side, we've got a thumbnail. So if we've just sent in a single document, but if there's multiple documents being sent in, they'll be identified within the thumbnails here, and you'll see that in a second in a bit more detail. In the middle, we've got all the details that have been extracted off the document, so the key metadata, and I've actually put them into tabs. So you can see here, there's one set of data. In the middle of my details, has it been signed, and some other additional information. And on the right hand side, you can actually see the image that we're processing, that we've actually extracted from. And you can see here where there's certain key things we can do. We can zoom in on it, we can zoom out, we can fit to page. I can even pop the image out. So if I was working on a dual screen, I could have this on, I could have the actual index, the extracted metadata in one screen, and I can have the image on another, so I can actually see a bigger picture of it. But unfortunately, I've only got the one screen, so we'll see it bit by bit. So I've actually put a force review on my surname. So you can see here, it's set to force validation. So I need someone to come in and just check this and eyeball it to make sure it's all good. So you can see when I click in the field in the middle, it actually highlights where I'm actually extracting the data from. Let me just highlight that and bring it out a bit further. So I have that. I've got my first name. The other thing being is we've looked at gender, male and female. So rather than having two tick boxes to say, is this a male or female, I've combined it to one drop-down box to say, is it male or female? So I am male, as it says here, so that's what it's brought back. My date of birth, the place of issue of my, where my card was issued from, my place of birth, and my nationality as well. Just to highlight here, on the original document, I actually had the NRIC number, I think it's A1234567B or something on those lines. But you can actually see, so when the knowledge worker comes in, that information has been redacted, so we can hide and we can make that sort of private from people being able to see. We can still, behind the scenes, extract the information if we need to do a comparison or to do any sort of data processing with it, but we can actually hide that information from the user. So I have extracted it here, but I've put it as a hidden field. So you've got the key information extracted off my name and all the details. You can see here that we've gone through all the check boxes and we can detect what boxes have been checked. So I can see it's a Premier account. I can see that the currency I'm looking for is Australian dollars. So not only are we getting the text, but we can get the tick marks as well. And finally, what I want to check is to make sure that the application I've put in has actually been signed. So let me just check that. So it's telling me that applicant 1 has actually signed this document, and there is only a single person applying for this account. And you can see again, I've got the date of when it was signed as well. So we can build in logic to say if it was for a joint account, and if this hadn't been signed, then we can reject it and we can say the validation has failed because we require 2 signatures rather than just 1. But the fact of the matter is, it's only a single account. We've identified that yes, it has been signed, has been dated, and it is a single account. So we're happy with that, and everything is happy to go through to the next stage of the process, which is push it through to SharePoint, where SharePoint can kick off a workflow process or whatever the next stage of the back-end process is going to be. But before I do that, I just need to make sure that, say, I'm happy now for this to go, and I'm going to validate this data. I'll say, yes, the data is valid, and that gets pushed through. There's no other processing to go on. And what I can see is this is now running, the final part of it, and this is where it's pushing into SharePoint. This could quite easily be pushing it into creating an XML file or a CSV file or a JSON file, putting it into a database. It could be one of those, it could be a combination, or it could be all of them. But just in this scenario, we're just pushing it straight out to SharePoint. So that has now gone. So if I go into my SharePoint environment, what I should be able to see now is under New Accounts, there's an application which has just come in a few seconds ago. It's got my details that's been extracted, and this was the application. So I've now gone through the whole process of receiving that document and then pushing it through, putting it into the back-end system. And what may be the circumstance now for the account opening is that to get this account opened, we need some supporting documentation, because I've put no sort of identification in there to say who I am or what my details are, proof of identity. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how the mobile capture works and how we can submit some supporting documents, which is going to be my employment pass. And I will be honest and say that I've actually hidden some of my key details on the document already with a bit of black tape just to hide my identity number and some other details on there, and my passport number. But I'm going to show you how we can actually capture that data as well. So just bear with me. I'm going to flick to another. So now you can see the Ephesoft mobile capture application. You can see that we've got the Ephesoft home screen, and it just tells me I can capture a document. So what I'm going to do is show you how we can capture my employment pass, my Singapore employment pass, and upload that into the Ephesoft Transact system. So let me just go with this. I'm going to do capture document, and straight away you can see it's a live demo. I've got my my employment pass, and if I'll just delete that because it did it very quickly, and I wanted to explain to you about the live sort of edge detection of documents. So I'm just going to delete that. So you can see here, I've got this sat on my iPad. Whoops. It's come in here. It's straight away detected the edge of the employment pass and done a capture. I've not had to do any zooming in, zooming out. I didn't have to sort of press the button. As soon as the application detected the fact that we've got the image, it then takes a picture of it. And you can see, as I explained earlier, I've actually masked off some of my key information for security reasons. Once I've got this document, I can do some key things to it. I can start to do some image magic with it, sort of remove some background noise. I can change the background to it. I can rotate the image. I can change the contrast of the image as well. I can crop it if I need to crop certain key information out of it. So a lot of image functionality available to us. I'm going to crop that, so I didn't really want that. So I'll just catch that again. So I've got the document here. In fact, I've actually got two versions of it now. So let me just remove that. And once I'm happy with that, I can say, okay, well, I've got this document and I've got the pass. If I wanted to, I could submit this, push the job forward to Transact. But what I want to do is I actually want to capture second document as well. So I'm going to capture my passport. So here again, I'm just going to hover over it. You can see I've got the details. Just hover over my passport. I can grab the information, I can use that image, or I can delete it and go again and say, well, actually I want to get a cleaner image. So that's now captured my passport details. And again, I've got the same functionality. I can do the image cleanup, I can do the rotation of it and what have you. But once I've done this, and I'm happy with the two images, I look at them and think, yeah, that's a handsome fellow. Let me submit these documents. I now hit submit. It's telling me it's uploading the documents. And what will happen next is they'll magically appear in Ephesoft Transact. So it tells me that the batch has been uploaded successfully. So that's all done. So let me just stop mirroring my my phone. If I go back into Ephesoft Transact, I'll show you how that now appears in Transact. Okay, so what we're waiting for now is for the mobile capture to send the documents over. So let me just hit refresh. In a second, we should see that job appear. There we go. So we've now, from the mobile capture, it's submitted the two images or the two documents into the system. It's identified where it needs to go, which is the account management again. And then it's going to go through the same process as the application form. It's going to go through the whole process of identifying them, see what the different document types are. It's going to identify them as one as a passport, one as an ID. It's now a validation because the same thing again, I've actually stopped it there. If I just open those up, same user interface. This time you can actually see that it's actually identified the two documents. One is the Singaporean work permit and one is my Australian passport. One of the other things that we've actually done as well at the same time is for security purposes, I'm actually at the validation stage, I've actually been able to call out to a third-party application, which just happens to be Amazon Web Services, to do a comparison of the two images on the passport. So what we can start to do is incorporate other technologies into the application as well. So what I've got here is this handsome chap here, comparing it with the picture on my passport. I've got to say that's not my best picture, but still. But it does actually give me a face match as well. It does say that the two faces are actually similar, and it's given me a percentage of how accurate they are. So as part of the process, we can start to call external applications and do additional validations as well. But you'll see here, it's got the name of my organization I work for, it's got my name, it's also given me the match percentage. We could also bring back the FIN number as well if needs be, if that was required for this particular requirement, or again, we could just do what we did before, was redact it. I just manually redacted this with a piece of tape before the actual demo. And then same with the passport. So once I've done this, I just validate that document. And then you'll see when I've validated, I probably didn't mention this earlier, when this comes in here, it'll actually highlight the field that needs to be looked at. And on the left-hand side, we've got a green, it's a traffic light type system. If it's green, it's good. If it's red, it means we need to sort of review that and have a look at it. But on this one, it's just purely because I've done a false validation, or here we've got a confidence level of, I've set the threshold to be high, it's not quite met that, and it just requires me to go and look at it. And I can say, well, okay, the surname is correct, the first name is correct, so I'm happy with that. As a knowledge worker, I'm now going to say validate and push that through. But if there's other information that we need to extract off this document, we certainly can. We're not limited to just the first name, the last name, and the first name. We can start to pull out some of the other key information as well. For example, on my application form, I put down that I was born in Bangor. I could do the same sort of thing. I could do a comparison with this and say, okay, well, is this correct? Have we got the right person here? The place of birth is the same. So again, comparisons and validation can be performed at this level as well. Once I've done that, I'm just going to validate. It says everything is fine, and we're now going to push that through. It tells me that there's no more batch instances for me to work on, and it's now going to go through to the back-end system, and it's going to be running. So let me just run that through. Okay, that is now completed. The job's now done. If I go back into SharePoint and just refresh that page, there should now be 3 documents in there, which is the application, which was the first document, the ID card, and the passport. And we're just putting in the same information. So just to summarize what we've actually seen there, we've seen how we can ingest documents through both email, through mobile capture, how we can identify the different document types within a process. In this case, it was an application, it was an ID card, and it was a passport. How we can extract key data off each of those different document types. So the application, we had a lot of data that was being extracted. The ID cards, it's just basically simply the names. But again, we can extract a lot more information from there. We also saw how we could redact or hide key information on a document, sensitive information such as a passport number or an ID number, just using a simple redaction algorithm that we use within the system. We also saw how we could go and call out to Amazon Web Services to do a comparison between 2 faces to see is the person that's applying for this, is the face on the ID card the same as the face on the passport. And luckily for me, my face, there was a match between the 2 of them, because I'd been a bit concerned if there was a difference there. But we've been able to see the comparison. And then finally, we've been able to export the metadata and the images to a back-end system, which so happens to be SharePoint. And from SharePoint, they could be pushed into any other back-end system, or a process could be fired off in Power Automate, or however else we want to do the application. So this is just showing you how we can do the full processing and make sure that when the data gets to the back-end system, it is in good order. That's the end of my demo. Hopefully that's been of use and you found that interesting. Thank you very much.